All right, Felisha Hurst. Did I say that right?
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Feel free to move the mic, however, like so you have it like underneath
Okay, right there.
your mouth. There you go.
Perfect.
Okay. So the reason why I wanted to chat with you and the reason why I for reals wanted to have this podcast start is because I think that there's a lot of people that look up to incredible people. I mean, for example, you train with James. So a lot of people look at James the Iron Cowboy as this like incredible, which he is, right? But they look at him as this incredible person. We both are fans of Andy Frisella. And so we look at him as, or Emily, his wife, as these incredible public figures, Gary V, XYZ. But I think what happens, whether you're an adult like we are, or whether you're a youngster, um, you you get motivated by them, and then you also get crushed by the comparison. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And I've had that happen where I started thinking things like, I'm never going to be like them. I can never do this. And it's almost like my motivation gets killed.
Hmm.
And then there's the realization of I just need to do this for me because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I need to be my best self. But what I've learned is when you start doing that, you start, it's like you peel back the layers of who you really are, like how powerful of a human you are. And then what happens is you start motivating people around you without even noticing, and then you kind of notice, and then you accomplish a couple little wins, and people start messaging you like, oh, Felisha, amazing, like
Hmm.
you inspire me. And then it just like it makes, for me, and this is why I wanted to talk to you, those people are the most important
Yeah.
because they're the realest, they're the ones that you know the most, they're the ones that will give you real advice, that they've done it, and you don't have to be like, did they really do it?
Yeah.
So that was a long-winded way of telling you why I wanted to interview you.
Yeah.
And I have a list of things that I'd love to just kind of like have you break down for me.
Yeah.
Number one, I'm gonna kind of like go through a lot of these, but before I start asking you, otherwise I'll forget. Tell me a little bit about you, and for the viewers,
Yeah.
like who are you?
I am Felicia. I've been married for 23 years. Same guy. I love him to death. And we have 5 kids. So our oldest, we have 3 girls, 2 boys. Our oldest is 21, 19, 17, 15, and almost 13. So
Let's go.
we're like in the middle of life with teenagers. And I have been a massage therapist for 21 years. So I've done that. I just needed something for me, and I really like helping people. And so it really just fills my cup a lot.
Amazing.
And I started fitness 10 years ago. I started teaching fitness classes. And then I've kind of I stopped a couple years ago, just felt the need to stop. And I haven't been back since. And it was a good time for me to be in that space. And I really, really loved it. But it's been nice to just move forward from that and away from it. And so I've kind of just been like, what do I want to do with what the background that I have in fitness stuff? And I've tried personal training, don't love it, but I help people online. And so I do a lot of coaching online virtually, and I love that aspect of it. And so I grew up in Arizona. I've lived in Utah the last 23 years, and I love it here. And so,
I was gonna ask you where you grew up.
yeah.
You like grew up in like Utah County.
No, I grew up in Arizona, northern Arizona. It's like a small town. Just grew up hunting and fishing and like very outdoorsy, and wasn't super athletic. I was a cheerleader, tried track, and I was like, just not for me. I don't like running, which is funny that I'm doing all these crazy things.
Yeah, I know. I have it here. You don't like running, but you just crushed a 50-miler.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's like a little bit about me in a nutshell of just, I like to challenge myself and do really hard things and kind of find my purpose as a mom and a wife and as an individual. Cause I'm also,
On your Instagram profile, it says that you help women women in their 40s or above their 40s, right? Gain more confidence. Did I say that right?
yeah.
I want you to explain that a little bit more because this is something that I really believe in. Finding the confidence later in life.
Yeah.
Not that that's super late, but heck, I did that.
I didn't have confidence growing up or at all in my 20s. I was having babies and just, I don't know, in the mix of like motherhood and everything else. And so I think last year when I did my bikini competition, that's when I really found like this inner confidence within myself to be like, oh, this is really amazing. And I was 40. Like, I was like, I'm going to turn 40. I'm going to get in the best shape of my life.
Yeah.
Even though I was already in shape,
Yeah.
but pushing myself beyond that really opened up something in my mind mentally that I was like, oh, like 40 doesn't, you're not the end of your life at 40. And I feel like my mom always, she didn't have purpose beyond us as a mom and kids. And we left and she just didn't know what her purpose was. And so she struggled. And so I've always been very passionate to be like, I need to know what my purpose is because eventually my kids are going to leave me and that's great.
Yeah.
And you want that. But I was like, what am I about? If they leave, what am I going to do for me? And so I think just finding things that I enjoy doing and involving my kids has been really helpful. Because I'm like, you can do both. It's harder. Yes, it's so much harder to get in shape when you're raising kids, but and doing these crazy things. But I'm like, how can I involve them so they're with me and they can see firsthand me crushing goals at 40, 42.
Dude, I got goosebumps because two things came to mind. I'm 39, so we're like literally right around the same age. When I go back to my teenage years and I think of my family, my dad, and they're like my age,
Yeah.
they just seem so old.
I know. I remember my dad turning 40 and I was like, oh, man, you're old.
So I'm like, I'll never want to be like that. Actually, a few years back, it was a Super Bowl. We're at my brother's house, and I'm the only one that doesn't have any kids. Actually, one of my other brothers doesn't, but the only one not married. I'm the oldest, and we're a combined family, so there's 8 kids.
Oh, yeah.
And big Super Bowl party, and I'm looking around. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all these kids. And my brother, who's a couple years younger than me, he's like 35. He goes, yeah, I got 5. And my dad's like, how old are you, Omi? And I'm like, oh, I'm like 37 at the time. He goes, when I was your age, I was done having kids.
Right.
I was like when he said that, it was just the weirdest, I'm like, am I really that old? Where my dad at my age was like, I'm done having kids.
Yeah.
And then my brother's like got all these kids. But what's cool is a couple things. I didn't grow up hunting, fishing, or anything like that, but my dad is very outdoorsy. Hence, I love like trail running and hiking and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, it could have been the food we were eating or whatever in schools or after school or whatever. Families maybe just didn't prioritize fitness or fitness with their kids.
Yeah.
I just like my parents are more active now, thank goodness, but they're still like they're kind of weathered older people, and I feel like that's a huge that generation. And then our generation and the younger generation have like these new examples. You're either 40 years old and accomplishing big goals and motivating your kids, or you are stuck in like you're in a trap or you're not sure what to do. And this trap, I've seen it because it happens by comparison. You compare yourself to your neighbor, but now you have a wife, kids, a house.
That was a responsibility.
Yeah. And so you're more concerned about making money versus like being the best,
version of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I agree. I think my dad was super fit-ish growing up, but my mom never really took care of herself. And so I didn't have that example front hand. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until after I moved out, she started doing like water aerobics, and she had a really horrible childhood and was in a bad car accident. And like she lost a pinky, and like her hands were like, she had pins in her hands, and like she was just in pain a lot of the time. But I feel like if she would have found something like she liked water aerobics, and I was like, just go. And she would go for a little bit and then she'd stop. And she just never really found her thing. And she ended up passing away in 2017. She committed suicide. And so that was really hard for me, where I was like, oh, am I actually prioritizing my mental health to take care of me? Because I have 5 kids who are relying on me. And so it really made a mental shift for me to really focus on my mental health even more so. And so fitness kind of became my crutch during that time, which was good and bad. And then I just pushed myself super, super hard and got in the really best shape of my life, but also I wasn't mentally doing the things that I needed to be doing. And once fitness was kind of like, I don't really love it, and COVID hit, I kind of shut down. And I was like, I'm golden. Like I thought I was golden when I hit COVID, and then I stopped working out. Like my mental health went down the tank, and I was like, oh, fitness is no longer saving me. What else can I do? And it took me a couple years to like really figure it out. And then Conquer 100 was here, and I was working on James, like doing a ton with him. And then that ended, and it was kind of like, what do I do now? And I ended up having surgery on my wrist, and it sent me down the darkest.
Because you use your hands.
I was like massaging him, and my hand like seized up one night. I was like, it was just stuck like this, and I was like, oh, what do I do? And so I just like
muscle spasm.
Yeah, like it was like that for 2 days, and I was like, what do I do? So I went to the doctor, and he was like, you have arthritis of an 85-year-old, and I was like, oh great. Wow. But I was like, what do I do? And he was like, well, you have a few options. He's like, just keep doing what you're doing, or we can get surgery. And I was like, I can't. I have a project until June, so we've got to like pause. And so I knew in June I was going to have surgery. So mentally, I was like, okay, I've got this. But I didn't understand how hard it was going to be to not be able to work out because I didn't have fitness anymore. I was like, how many days can I do leg day or like a single arm burpee on my right side? And it sent me down a really deep, dark depression really quick. And I think that helped me kind of open up and see what my mom actually dealt with a little bit and just have a little more empathy of like, oh, this is like a real thing. Like you get a negative thought and it just spirals so fast. And I kind of had to check myself and be like, what can I do to propel myself forward? And that's when I committed to do 75 hard the first time, because I was like, I just needed something. I wasn't working. I was at home and I thought I'd love it. And I was like drowning and I didn't have anything on my schedule. And so it took me all day long to get through those tasks. Like sometimes I was walking at 10 o'clock at night being like, how did it take me so long to do a second workout today when I have nothing on my schedule? Like nothing besides kids. And it took me, I don't know, forever to do those tasks. But I was like, 75 hard like propelled me forward and helped me kind of get that checklist down and like kicked me out of that funk that I was in. And I was like, without 75 hard, I don't know where I would have been. Just, I had negative thoughts and they were really scary. And I had to like check myself and be like, oh, this is really scary. Like this is a real thing that people struggle with. And if I didn't have the support that I had, who knows what would have happened with those thoughts. Like it was that scary where it was like, do I need to be here anymore? And I knew I needed to change and do something to propel myself forward because I was like, I don't want to be in that headspace anymore.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so I left Utah because I had left the Mormon church and I was embarrassed at, just how I was being, even it was all in my head. Mm-hmm. By my family or friends or whatever. And so I created this distance from my family. And sometimes in the darkest moments, I would just beat myself up and like, you're such a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. Like, look at, and the thoughts of like, no one gives whatever it is.
Yeah,
like,
it's scary. Like being in that position, like
you're just...
I was sitting in the car and I went in and I was like, I am here for my appointment because I went to go see the doctor to get help. And the receptionist looked at me and she was like, what are you here for? And I didn't know what to say. I was like, mental health. And she was like, oh, we can't help you. You have to go across the street to the hospital and check yourself in. And I was like, do you even know how hard it was for me to like get out of my car, come in here and say, I need help. Can you help me? And then they just like shut me out. And so I called my husband. I was like, they won't see me. And he was like, well, we'll figure it out. But I was like, luckily I have a good support system where I was like, if people don't have that, what happens? Like, where do they turn?
How did you like, this is actually one of the, because I was curious, I'm like, someone like you, in my opinion, or anyone, not necessarily you, but people will always go through something hard in their life that will break them. Mm-hmm. It might happen multiple times.
Yeah.
And people are left with the option, crazy options, and they'll latch on to food or fitness. That's usually what I find.
Yeah.
Like my first time was food, and I like ballooned. And then the second time was during COVID, and it was fitness. Same thing as you. Mm-hmm. What how did you get like to that dark place? Was it, like do
What
I
led me
what
to that?
yeah, like when did you like how did it creep up? Was it your mom? Was it
I think it was a combination of things. I think it was I was busy, 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 and then it ended, and then I had surgery, and I was like, oh, I can do this. And then it was like summertime with kids is just really busy. And then they went back to school, and it just like hit me like a brick of like, what am I doing? Like, they're at school all day. I'm not working. I thought I would love being at home. And I was like, I don't really have a purpose right now. And I think it just was like a combination of everything. And I never really dealt with my mom's death properly. And so it was like, okay, maybe I should dive into therapy and do. I've tried talk therapy and it just doesn't work for me. I don't have a lot of memory recollection of growing up. And so I was like, talking about stuff doesn't really help me if I have no
yeah.
memory recollection of how I grew up or like, I just don't have memory of it. And so it's really hard for me to like sit in therapy and be like, let's talk about this. And I'm like, well, I don't know what happened. So great. And so I had to take a deep dive into that. And then it wasn't until a couple of years later when I went to one of James's retreat, we did boxing. And I was like, I don't want to box. But I was there as a leader. And he was like, leaders lead from the front. And I was like, you're right, they do. I'm like, dang it. And so we got the boxing gloves on, which I don't like confrontation, hate it whatsoever. Boxing, like seeing people get hurt is just not my forte. Like I just don't.
You heal people.
Yes, I was like, I'm a healer. I'm not a fighter. My sister's like, she would just go at it and she could be great at it. And for me, I'm like, I just don't want to hurt people. Like it's just not my thing. And so we got in the little ring and I was boxing with another girl and she like hit me and I fell back and hit my head on the ground and got back up. And the coach that was there, he was like, hey, you have 10 seconds. And I was like, I don't want any seconds left. I was like, please be done. And she like clocked me in the face. And I took the headgear off and sobbed for like 4 hours. I could not stop crying. And so for me, I was like, I know something, I'm holding on to something emotionally. I don't know what it is. And so from that point on, I was like, I have to figure out a way to move forward. And so I did a deeper dive into therapy and did actually a journey. I don't know if you want me to talk about this, but I did a mushroom journey because I was like, I've tried talk therapy, I tried hypnotherapy, I've tried muscle testing. Like I've tried every form of therapy there was to kind of help myself. And it wasn't until I found the right person to like set the intention of just getting over my self-loathing, which is crazy that I even have those kind of negative thoughts of just like talking down to myself all the time because I would never talk to my kids that way or anybody that I meet on the street, but my own thoughts are so negative. Sometimes it's really kind of scary. And so I set my intention, met with her, and like told my husband about it, which was really scary. So I was like, is he going to be supportive of this? Like, I'm doing this. And it ended up being a life-changing experience for me where I went into it and it got dark really quick, really fast. And it was scary. And it took me back to my childhood with my grandma's ex-husband. And he was like red and black and his colors were just scary. And I remember just covering my face and just curling in a ball and saying, you took my innocence. And I don't know anything that happened, but I just know that he was a scary person. And I just worked through it in my mind and didn't say a single word to her. And I was like, just release this, just let it go. This doesn't serve me anymore. I don't want to hold on to it anymore. And for like an hour, I just worked through that. And like even my grandma was there and like she was also red and black. And so it was really hard to have like, do I want to have a relationship with her? Because I was like, you allowed this to happen and you said nothing. I don't know whatever happened because I've never asked and I don't want to know.
Of course.
But I feel like I was able to move past that and whatever I was holding on to, I released it. Like I left and I felt like I had lifted off 1,000,000 pounds off of my shoulders. And I went on a walk the next day and I was like on a walk and I was like, I am finally enough. And I felt like I was enough. And it was just like the most freeing moment of my entire life. Like I feel like I just left like baggage behind me, years and years of baggage from when I was little. And I didn't feel like I had to hold on to it anymore. And I was like, this is the most amazing thing in the most random, weird way that you could ever describe. And most people are not open to it. But I was like, I have to figure something out because I don't want to hold on to this anymore. And like, even with my mom's death, I feel like I've been able to progress forward and not blame myself or have that shame or that guilt of like, I didn't do enough. I just saw her and she was white and light and bright. And it was like, she's okay. Like, I don't have to worry about it anymore. And so my progression of dealing with her death has moved exponentially forward and I don't worry about it anymore. And so it's been really cool for me to like be on this journey and just progress forward versus like what else do I need to do? Am I holding on to this? And I just let it all go and just left it all on the field and was just like, I am going to move forward and progress. And this is the best way that I know how. And I don't know. It was wild.
That's thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that.
Sorry.
Don't apologize. No, because people do different drugs for different reasons. The right way is exactly how you've done it. Um, I've purposely never done that type of psychedelic because honestly because of that fear of confronting, to be honest.
It was really scary.
Because I know like I've done plenty of drugs. Not really plenty of drugs. I smoked a lot of weed. That's a lie. I smoked a lot of weed. I have done ecstasy once. It was awesome. But like I was in the music industry.
Yeah.
But the mushroom thing I've held off because I want to do it like exactly how you've expressed. Where there's not like I'm trying to get messed up or I'm trying
Like
to
I wasn't trying to do that. I was like,
yeah, there's a power, there's a reason why like that is a natural thing from earth
yeah.
to even marijuana to like help you at some capacity, you know, in your brain. If I had my conspiracy hat, I have two pimple hats over there. But like in religion, if you the conspiracy is that a lot of the prophets used psychedelics to communicate with God. And to me, that makes sense because there's some sort of power that your brain connects with some sort of entity, some sort of different thing we don't see. Um, like for example, people talk about seeing geographic and you know, like these weird things.
Yeah.
The only way I can describe that is when I was younger, I don't know why, but I would rub my eyes until I could see things like that.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the weirdest thing because when people describe what like mushrooms and going and I'm like, I feel like I've had a similar experience because you start seeing just
The shapes and colors for me, and it was just wild. And I was like, I am a strong member in the church, and so I never know how people are going to take it when I'm like, this is what I did. And it worked for me. And is it the path that most people take? No. But I was like, for me, I couldn't remember anything. So I was like, I knew I was holding on to something deep down, and that was the only way to let it out. But I was like, I went in with the intention of healing myself and figuring it out with like a guided person to help me. And like, I wasn't there to get high. I was like, I actually didn't like how I felt afterwards. I was like, I do not like this at all.
But it was good because you came. I mean, it's a tool. Right?
It was a tool for me to like move forward because before that I was signing up for my bikini competition and I don't think I could have done it without letting go of all that baggage. Like I was able to move forward and like really just focus on this competition and not compare myself to other people or that 12-year-old version of me or high school version of me where it was like wasn't good enough, didn't have this, didn't have that. It was no longer there. I didn't have that in my brain and it was just like just move forward, just lift your weights, just do what you need to do and crush it. And it was amazing. Like
I love that. There's power in overcoming that and just flipping the page and being like what you said, I'm good enough.
Yeah.
That's a powerful thing because at the end of the day, only you can feel that for yourself.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask you about a couple of those things. One, I actually on here, it's funny. I have you down as the cold plunge queen because I always see you, especially when I see those ducks and like Felisha and the ducks. I want to ask you actually about before your ultra, but I want to ask you about your fitness competition because I don't know anybody that's for reals unless you're super shredded all the time, that is comfortable taking either a shirt off or being in a bikini.
Literally nothing, yeah.
And when I see anybody in this kind of fitness industry, I have nothing but respect for them because it is a different level of discipline. And then you're going to compete against other disciplined people. So tell me a little bit about that.
It was kind of something on my bucket list. I'd done one back in 2018 with company was called Beachbody. Like we would go to their
Beach
corporate camps and like
Beachbody.
they would do like their, I can't remember what they called it, but I showed up. It was kind of like P90X, but with Siggy. Like they would do like a bikini competition. And so I signed up and I was like, hey, why not? But I didn't train for it. I didn't like pose. Like I was posing the night before and I was like, is this what I'm supposed to do? So I was like, it was horrible. But I got on stage and I was like, oh, I did not prepare at all. Like I felt so insecure. It was ridiculous. So I was like, I don't ever want to do one of those again. But it was on my bucket list. And I was like, I just want to do it. And I was turning 40 and I was like, why not? And everything kind of just aligned up.
Okay.
And I found a coach, started training with them, doing the nutrition, checking in with them. And I was just all in. And then I bought my bikini, which is stupid expensive for literally nothing. I was like, why is this so
What's the cost of a bikini? $500.
I think mine was $650. And that was on the low end.
Dude, that was like
Yeah.
I can't be that.
And shoes are $100, like low end. Shoes are $100. Like everything about a competition was not cheap at all. And like the food that you're buying, like your coaching, like just spending all the time and the money was just insane.
What did you learn about because for example, the fitness trainer part of it,
Mm-hmm.
people that don't believe in fitness trainers, tell me what was the difference for in this case?
It was different for me because I'd always worked out at home or taught fitness classes. And so doing group fitness and then walking into the gym and using cable machines and like the whole gym scene was very foreign to me. And I even told James, I was like, I don't know how to work out at the gym. And he was like, Felicia, you have to go. And I was like, I know, but I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm a trainer.
Like, how do I lift
I felt so foreign. Like, I didn't know how to use the cable machines. And so I'm like over there looking at the like picture and being like, what am I doing today?
Yeah.
And I felt so out of place. And then I just slowly like started going and like gaining more confidence. And that to me was really proof of just show up. Nobody cares what you're doing. Honestly, they're so occupied with what they're doing. They're not watching you and they don't care. And so just like show up and do your thing because nobody else is, they're just so focused on themselves that they're not even focused on you. And so for me, that was a good like confidence booster of like, oh, I can walk into the gym and like own it and be like, yeah, I know how to use this set of machines now. And
Excuse me, bro.
Yeah. Like when people are waiting for the cables, I'm like, yeah, you can wait your turn. I've got like a few sets. So
Yeah, I always tell people when I see people waiting, like I'm like, I just started or
Yeah.
I have a few more sets. Like it's weird when they're like looking at you.
Yeah.
Like,
And I feel like I earned my place. I was like, I've worked really hard to be in this space and I'm going to sit here and use this machine. And I've learned a lot along the way. And so that for me was like education of like, if I'm going to train people, then I've got to be able to work out in the gym and like know how to train them. And so for me, it was a good confidence boost as a trainer to be like, oh, yeah, it is kind of scary, but guess what? You can overcome that and learn new things and you don't have to stick to the same thing that you've always done.
and there's power, I guess, from what you're telling me in like actually hiring an expert for a specific.
Yeah, for that one, like specifically, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. And the nutrition aspect of it and just the workouts, because you're just focusing on glutes, hamstrings, shoulders. You're focusing on your back, but you never show your back. It's such a weird space to be in. And my trainer was like, your legs are big. And I was like, I know. Thank you. Like, she was like, stop working on your quads. And I was like, I don't. They just naturally build. So I had to really shift and do a ton of hamstring glute work, which I've never really done.
That's like where you normally get cramps, right? Is that the glutes?
Yeah. Yeah. Most people like calves or like glutes, like they just like seize up and they're just like, yeah. But I'd never really focused on it. But I was like, it's heavily the one thing that they focus on the most is glute and hamstring. So I was doing that 3 times a week and doing shoulders. You don't focus a ton on biceps or like upper body stuff. You never do chest. And like I hardly ever did core, but my core just got so shredded. It was actually really cool. Like,
yeah, the core I find interesting because when I find like a lot of the best techniques or quote unquote exercises for my core have nothing to really do with ab stuff. It's like lifting different kettlebells or weights a different way. And I think that's pretty cool. Or like hanging a specific way or dips. And then I'm like, oh, I feel it. That feels cool.
Yeah. I was like, that was cool. And I think for me, like nutrition was key. Like I was so on point. Like you could go back to my Fitness Pal and see the last 6 months of my training. Like I weighed everything that put into my body. Like my kids would like go to grab it. And I was like, I've weighed that. Don't touch it. And they're like, so for like 6 months, they're like, don't touch mom's food. And I was like, do not touch my food because this is all I get right now and don't touch it.
I can't. When I'm disciplined, not right now, but when I am disciplined and do 75 hard, one of my critical tasks that I like to do is track everything I eat.
Mm-hmm.
Because tracking is the key to success in whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
Especially in like you want to drop weight. Well, you have to track what you put in.
Yeah.
Not only what you put in, what kind of calories are you burning?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you'll be able to really
It's
track.
like input to output. Yeah. It was like, what am I putting in and what am I expending out?
And you realize how much shit you're putting in your body.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize how much they're snacking, and they're like, oh, I'm picking up this and this, especially as a mom, because you're just like cleaning up and just like snacking, and you're like,
string cheese here, crackers.
Yeah, you don't realize how much you are snacking, and I think most women are protein deficient. Like they just aren't eating enough protein. And like even talked to a lady and she's like, my doctor said like 50 grams a day. And I was like, excuse me? I was like, I eat that in one meal, like
grams of protein
a day. And I was like,
wow. I don't even, that's like how much protein do you?
My goal is 140 a day.
I've never even counted. I better start counting.
I would start counting. Like for me, my body likes protein. And so that was really fun for me to be like, oh, I'm going to hit. At first, I was like 140 grams. Like that's a lot of protein a day.
Yeah, I was thinking because like those scoops are what, like 40? 2 scoops are 40, give or take?
Yeah, about.
So
depending on the scoop.
Yes.
And I would weigh that too. So it's like I'd put my little.
So I'm trying to think like, okay, there's that. And if I have steak, eggs.
But even with eggs, like I couldn't do the fat because my fat was so low. So I would do egg whites.
Oh my!
And so I would do a cup of egg whites, and I did those spinach pancakes every day. If you want to know about them, just let me know. But it was like a cup of egg whites, a handful of spinach, I think a third cup of oats. I did a little bit of vanilla. I think that was everything. And then I just blended it and made these spinach pancakes, and then I'd put as like fruit on it because berries are kind of free food. And then I would top it with peanut butter or drizzle it, and then sugar-free syrup, which was like always a no-no for me because I'm like, sugar-free is just stupid.
Yeah.
But I was like, it was only 3 grams of carb versus maple syrup, which was like 30 grams of carbs. And I was like.
So what about honey?
I didn't have honey up until like the week of prep.
Because of how much stuff
was in it, yeah. And so I didn't eat a ton of honey other than the day before or like before you're going on stage. Like I was just drizzling honey.
What did you learn like at the very end? Like after you did all that, tell me you're going up on stage.
Uh-huh.
You just, you've gone through all this training. You got your spray tan on.
I know. It's so crazy.
So I could be in this color.
I know. I was like, what is happening? And that's like a whole nother thing where you like spray tan is just like, it's bizarre. Like somebody prepped me. She's like, just so you know, it's just not you and one other person. Like I've done spray tans before, but this was like multiple tenths of people, and you're just spraying you.
Is it because it tones the muscle?
It just looks better. Like it just makes it pop a little bit more, which I was like, it just looks so silly, but it does make the muscles like pop on stage with the big lights.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
So it's all the lights, and
I'm
like
wondering if they're trying to make it look like a statue. But then I also, like, sometimes, I am brown, so I can see a little bit more definition.
The muscles just look better when they're more tan. Like, I've seen, like, what I look like white and then tan, and I'm like, oh, they just look better. So
what was your thought? Like, what was going through your head? They're about to call your name.
The first time, so I did a show in the end of March, and I decided on Monday that I was going to sign up for that show on Saturday. And my coaches were like, you're not ready. And I was like, but I think it'll help me for my bigger show if I just do this smaller show. And so they were they just weren't on board. And I was like, well, I'm doing it. So yeah. I guess you're on board or you're not on board. And so going into that, super nervous, didn't know what to expect. I was like, if I get the smaller show out of the way, then I'll kind of know what to expect on my bigger show. And so I walked in and just like full confidence, like, here we go. They call you out, and it was just like, okay, I'm on. Like, I got to walk. I got to pose. And it was just like so fast. And you're like, this is why you practice your posing. Like, posing is 100% critical when you're on the stage and like every scenario. And my coach was great at like, okay, walk out and do this. And we would do it for an hour, and your back was just on fire. Like your rectors.
Everything.
It's like you're like popping your chest, but not like sticking your butt out. So your rectors, like on the lower part of your back, just get so sore. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So you're like increasing and like engaging your lats, and just, it was insane. But like walking out was really cool. And you do the prejudging, and then your family comes later. and watches you kind of go through the routine. And then that's when they do the awards. And so you can do your like whole presentation. And that was really cool because my husband and my oldest daughter came. I asked my younger kids and they're like, I don't want to go. And I wasn't going to force them to come watch because it's lots of butts and like, it's a lot of things. And I was like, I don't want to force you to go, but if you want to come, you can.
Yeah.
And so my husband and my daughter were there, and I walked out on stage, and my daughter was like, "Go, Mom!" She's like screaming, and I'm like trying not to cry because you have a pound of makeup on your face. And I was like, "Don't cry, don't cry!" Like that was the coolest moment because it's like I've cheered her on for so many years doing soccer and sports, and for her to reciprocate that was like I didn't have to walk away with any medal. I was like, that right there is medal enough. Like she's proud of me, my kids are proud of me. That's more than I can ever ask for. And so that was a really cool moment for me to have her cheer for me and just yell, "Go, Mom," and just be so ecstatic and so proud of me. That was one thing where I was like, this is really cool. Like my kids are seeing front hand of my hard work and they're seeing my example. And I went to the show and I was like, I don't want to prove anyone wrong because that to me is like a negative connotation. I was like, I want to prove myself that I can and prove myself that I made this commitment to myself. I'm going to give it 100% and just prove to myself that I can do this. And that's what I went into it. Like I left nothing on the table. It was just like, I'm tracking everything. I'm doing all my workouts. Like I was there so dedicated every single day, even when I didn't feel like it, because you don't feel like going to the gym and you're tired and you're depleted. But it was like, if I can prove to myself that I can do this, what else can I do in my life? What else can I prove to myself that I can do in a business or at home or just being a mom? Like, what else can I do if I can do this and be this dedicated in something? Like, there's nothing off the limits at this point.
It blows my mind that someone with that mindset, and at the same time, it doesn't blow my mind, struggles with mental confidence.
Right?
Because I can't tell you truthfully how many times I've looked at your, especially in the wintertime, and every day that you were posting, getting in the ice, just that, or working out, there was a lot of times where I would tell myself, like, you can't bitch out. Or if I did bitch out, I would look at it and be like, you need to be better. So it blows my mind to hear that someone like you would struggle with talking to, negative to yourself. But I say at the same time, it doesn't surprise me because great people always expect great things out of themselves. And that's kind of what I hear from you.
Yeah.
It's cool that your daughter got to see that because one thing came to mind when you were saying that. When you're young and you're a little kid and they ask you who your hero is, who's typically your hero?
Usually, well,
your mom and dad.
Yeah.
Why?
It's like your parents because you're with them all the time and you look up to them. And
they're your world. They're like everything,
everything.
Right? And then they get older and friends and whatever, mom, whatever, dad.
Yeah.
And this, I hope, whoever will see this, I hope that they'll benefit from this because I don't have any kids, but I love cheering my mom and my dad on. And what you just told me really like resonated with me because the example that you're setting is just going to compound for the rest of her life. Because and the younger ones, because they're seeing they can literally say, my mom's my hero.
Yeah.
My dad's my hero. Why? Because, dude, my mom has overcome, this mental battle or continues to work on it. I don't think, some people might never overcome it. At the age of 40, she did this bikini contest. Like, I would rather do public speaking in the biggest stage than do any thing like that. And I want to get into this, running an ultra, like those are just three of all the other things that you've done. You should be really proud of it. And I know you are, but I'm telling you from, way out, this is the first time or the most that you and I have ever spoken.
Yeah.
You should be super proud of yourself because you've impacted my life and I'm a stranger, and I don't get to see that dark side that you get to experience. But there are times where I do see it because you'll post a picture where you're crying and dude, those are the ones that really hit me because you still went through it and when people, this is a problem that I have personally. When I get to that breaking point, if I break, the level of negative talk that I will go through is just insane
Right.
because I gave up. I never could do it. And then I start talking to myself. Maybe you've done this where you're like, see, I knew you couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you try? And then it takes me like 10 days to get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay, let's
Yeah.
just take another step. So you should be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
It's pretty cool. Tell me about training for an ultra, because earlier you're like, I don't really like running. And you didn't just run an ultra, you just did 50 miles. That's from here to like Ogden almost.
Right. Yeah. It's when I think of the distance, it blows my mind. Like, and I'm signed up to do 100 miles in September.
Did you keep all your toenails?
I did so far. So far.
Yeah.
Training was great for me, at least this time around. Like I started running and I had a friend and we were so consistent. And then March hit with like the time change, rocked my world like heavily. And I was like, what the heck is happening? And so I kind of wasn't as consistent for March and April, but I was still there. Like I was still showing up. And we went out in May and did the front half of the trail because I think it's super great to do to like understand what you're dealing with, the terrain. And you're on that road a lot, and there was tons of snow. And I was like, this is going to suck. Like, there's so much snow. And then the next weekend, we went and did the back half of the course, and there was even more snow. And I had been reading The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan. I think that's who it is. And I was talking to my friend Chad. I was like, this is great because we know now this is what we have to deal with on the back half. So we have to be faster on the front half because we're focusing on the gain. Like we know now what we can expect. And so we have to be faster on the front end. So the back end, it took us like 15 hours to do that back half. And it was stupid. I was like, what the freak is happening right now? It was like avalanches. The trail hasn't been used for like 3 years. They haven't done that course for a while because of so much snow. And so we're just like bushwhacking. And I was like, just focus on the positive. Like, just focus on what we know now, and we can just better prepare ourselves for race day. And he was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this race. And I was like, you're still going to show up. Like, we're going to show up together, and it'll be fine. And so race day, I showed up, and I was like, I'd actually had Achilles issues for like 3 weeks. My shoes somehow caused some sort of Achilles tendonitis. Like, it was flaring so bad. And so I went into Runner's Corner. I was like, I need a new shoe 2 weeks before the race.
What brand were you using?
I was using a Brooks Caldera, which I loved. And I've used for the last like 3 years. Loved them. Like bought a second pair and I was like, okay, these are fantastic. These are my shoes. And somehow my Achilles just started flaring. And I was like, what is happening? And so I went in and I was like, this is what's happening. Help me find a new shoe. And so they gave me a Hoka, which I was like, whatever. It was the best that felt on my Achilles.
Dude, preaching. Hoka, that's why I keep emailing you.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I used the Hoka shoe, and I actually, because I am strong faith, like I had my husband give me a priesthood blessing the night before, and I was like, okay, I'm golden. Like I have so much faith that I was like, I'm going to be race free. Like this is going to be the most amazing day of my life. Woke up, didn't have any sort of pain the first half of the race, and I was like, I am like rocking life. This is amazing. Like didn't have a single ounce of pain at all. And I ended up, Chad and I started together, and then he was having stomach issues, and I was like for 2 miles, I was like, do I leave you? Do I stay with you? What do I do? Like, what's the protocol here? I was like, friends stay with friends. And he was like, just go. He's like, I'll be more mad if you stay with me and you don't finish. And so I was like, okay, peace out.
Yeah.
Which was really hard for me.
It's hard, but like,
but it's like, it's my race day. It's your race day. And so we just made the best decision. So I just took off and I was running and I called my husband. I was like, this is amazing. Like I'm on top of the mountain running. And he was like, are you going too fast? And I was like, no, I feel so great.
Oh, yep.
And I actually did feel good from like mile 14 to 21. And then you hit the road and it's hot. And I hit it at 9:30. So I was like, it wasn't super hot yet.
9:30 in the morning?
9:30 in the morning.
It's still now in the desert.
You're in the desert. It's still hot. And I had a friend, Shiloh, running with me for the next 4 miles, which was great because it distracted me. And with my mom, there's always yellow butterflies. When we buried her, there was a yellow butterfly. And so the whole time I'm just like, oh, there's a yellow butterfly. So it's like really cool for me. Like I get closer to her.
Good omens.
Yeah, through that race, like doing hard things, like it just brings me closer to her, which is, I don't know, it sounds weird, but it's not weird to me. And I just see different little signs or like, I'm like, it's really hot. And so I'll get a breeze and I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And I got going, and at mile 31, I passed the aid station, and I just like got this excruciating pain in my heel, and I was like, "What is
Oh
that?"
no.
And it was a blister, and I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
Oh,
And so I'm like trying to move my foot around to like pop the
oh,
blister.
yeah.
Ugh. And then every step was just like excruciating, and I was like, "Oh dear!" And I knew the aid station at 33 was coming, and I just had to hit that one by 1:30 to complete the race. Like they won't let you move
Oh,
forward.
really? Okay.
Yeah, like it's like
That's
this
cut off.
checkpoint of like if you want to be here by this time. And I think I got there around 12, and so I had plenty of time. Changed my shoes, actually took off my shoe, and I was like, my whole foot's a blister. I was like, what am I gonna do? And I didn't want to take off my other shoe because I was like,
Afraid of what?
I was like, what's it gonna look like? And so both of my feet were blistered. I put duct tape on it. I even tried like KT blister tape. I put salty britches on. Like I was like, whatever I could figure out, I was like, just put it on my feet so it can feel really good. And took some ibuprofen and was just like on my way. And like that mile after was just death. I was like, I need this ibuprofen to kick in like ASAP, please.
Mile 30, you're
I
already
was
like,
like,
what am I doing? I got 20 more
I was by
miles.
myself most of the race, which I had never done. The last time I did it, I had a friend pace me, and so that was really cool to like have somebody to like have
Yeah, 'cause
conversation
most
with. And
ultras you're by yourself
most of
forever.
them, yeah. And I was like, sometimes you have a pacer to like help keep you on track and not get lost. And so I was like, this time I was by myself. And most of the time I was by myself. I was like, am I on the right trail? I was like, I'd look for markers and I was like, okay, I'm on the right trail. Like I did this a few weeks
You're
ago.
like, wait, I did how many miles?
Yeah, I was like, I know I'm. And so every so often I'd check and be like, okay, there's a marker. I'm good. I'm just on the right trail, but nobody was near me. And I was like, what is happening right now? And so from mile 31 until mile 40, I was just like, this sucks so bad. But I was like, I tried to put on music and a book, and I was like, no, I just need to be alone with my thoughts, which I think the world is missing, like being alone, which is very scary with my own thoughts. But I was like, it was so peaceful
Mm-hmm.
that I was like, I think if people could just be alone with themselves, they could figure out how to become mentally tough because they just don't know where you're capable of like with your own thoughts and like listening to the birds and just being grateful and like finding the gap in the gain and being like, I'm so grateful for this experience because I have a body that I'm able to move and I can sign up for these things and just focusing on the positive the whole time versus everything that was just like killing me in my feet. And I was like, I really tried not to focus on it and just be like, it's there. It's an inconvenience right now, but your Achilles isn't hurting and your body feels really good right now. So just keep moving forward. And I got to mile 40 and it's just this huge hill. It's called Boson's Hill and it's the death of every hill. If you've ever hiked Baldy, you'll know.
Not Baldy, like
Uh-huh. It's like that. It's very similar. Like it's just
straight up.
straight up. And you're in the sun and I was just like, ugh. So I called my husband. I was
I
like,
can
this
feel
is the worst.
yeah.
And he's like, just keep moving forward. And I was like, I am. And the whole time my kids are like texting me, like, you can do it, Mom. You've got this. And I was like, I just want you to know I'm struggling, but I'm going to keep going because the only way off this mountain is either helicopter or walk. And I was like, or run. And I was like, we're running. We're not hiring a helicopter to come get me. So
Those moments, keep going, because I
yeah,
come back to that.
it was a really surreal moment for me because when I did it last time, I was like, that hill wasn't that hard. I was like, that was easy. But this time it was so much harder. And I filmed myself and I was like, this hill sucks so bad. And I was like, it's never ending. And I almost ran out of water. Like I was pretty close to my end of my water. And I was like, I'm out of water in the middle of nowhere in the sun on this hill. And then I'd get a breeze. And I was like, okay, I can just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward. Just have to like keep putting one foot in front of the other. You're going to get there, Felisha. And I just had to keep moving forward. And I got to the aid station, refilled, and I was heading down the mountain and I'm like cruising along and actually put music on. And then I fell. And I was like, ugh.
Oh no,
I,
your whole body's dead by
I
that.
was so done. I remember falling and my head was like down the trail and my feet were up. And I laid there and I was like, maybe if I just lay here and die, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, just get up, Felisha. Just get up. And so I was like, I knew there was an old guy behind me. And I was like, well, he was struggling, so he can't carry me off the mountain. So you're going to have to get up and just carry yourself off this mountain. And so I just got up and I was like, let's go. And I just started running. And I was like, we just have to get off this mountain. And my kids' texts were coming through and like, you got this, Mom. You can do it. And I was like, that was really, it's just a very surreal moment for me as a mom where it's like, I'm the one that's cheering them on. But then they have the opportunity to cheer me on and use whatever I've taught them over the years. They're actually helping me. And so that was really cool to be like, I know my kids and my family's going to be at the end of the finish line. I just need to get there. And I got there, and the last mile and a half, my oldest again got out of the car and she ran with me. And I was like, this is I needed you 3 miles ago. I was like, I needed you. But that was a really cool mile and a half, just having her run with me and be like, I am in so much pain. She's like, you're almost there. It's almost there, Mom. You can do it. And then my kids were there with signs and just, it's just a surreal moment to like cross that finish line and have my family there and for them to be proud of me. Like,
And dude, I'm getting goosebumps because I can picture it, and I've seen the pictures of that. But that moment is the most beautiful thing because all that work, all that pain, falling on your face. At the end, who embraced you?
my family and my kids and my husband. It was like, it was the coolest moment to date, having them all there and being like, okay, if I can do this and I can show them firsthand how to do hard things, then I'm setting them up for success in some ways. Because I feel like life is super easy for us. It really is.
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't have enough hard things in our life. We do, but we don't.
We look for excuses to complain
Yes,
because our life is so easy.
it is really easy. And I was like, if you're go do hard things. Like I'm always like, how can I build my life resume like Jesse Itzler? It's like, put that on your resume. And that's really cool to be like, I did a 50 miler, not once, but twice. And I finished it. Is it the time that I wanted? No, but I finished
But you
it.
finished it. You
And
did.
I was
You said you were going to do it. And you,
and I was like, and I set that goal for myself. And I was like, my goal is to complete it. And sometimes you have a good race day, sometimes you have a bad race day. But it's like my goal has always been like, just go forward and just complete the goal. Like that's your whole goal is just to complete it. Just finish it. You set that up for yourself. Now finish it. And my same goal for my 100 is like, just finish it. Like this was my 50 was my training for my 100.
freak.
And I was like, okay, how am I supposed to do 100 after that? Because I was pretty broken after that. And I was like, I'm supposed to do 50 more after that?
Yeah, when I ran my first ultra, I only did 36, 38 miles, whatever, 50Ks or 60K. I like
Still
how you
impressive.
put their numbers.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking like, I finished, but I was like, there's still people out there doing 50 and 100. That thought where I was mentally and physically, I was like, couldn't even
Right.
comprehend.
But I think that's where comparison comes in because it's like either can kill you or it can motivate you. And it's
Yes.
like, okay, but everybody's going to be suffering in that 100 and that's okay. And I love the camaraderie of ultras and like
Because everyone cheers you on.
everyone cheers you on and they're there for you and they have no idea what you're going through. You have no idea what they're going through.
Yes.
But you all come together and it's just like this one, like everyone had passed me and I know a lot of the community for ultras and like, you're doing great, Felisha. And I'm like, you're doing great. You're passing me. And like, they're still cheering me on, but
I've
it's like,
had my first the only ultra I've done. I did the mistake of being overconfident in my ability, thinking, dude, 38 miles, I'll just like push through it. That was my thought.
oh,
Just what a stupid mistake. And when I got to, I was basically broken by mile like 19. My right calf was like done.
yeah.
But I got to like mile 20 or something, and I was just throwing up liquids so
Oh,
bad, like I was
that's
KO'd.
awful.
And I was just like leaning over, and this dude he like, because you're by yourself, and the occasional one runner.
Uh-huh.
This dude's just cruising by, and all he said was, "I remember my first ultra," and he kept going. And I was like, I couldn't like, I wasn't mad, but I was like,
Bro.
fuck you, dude. And I remember, and there was a handful of things that happened,
Yeah.
like old ladies passing me up, and I'm like, and they're giving me like little salt packets, and I'm just, it was such an eye opener of like, there's another level to human ability.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to circle back on what you were saying is being alone in your thoughts, especially with people that have things that they want to overcome. I never work out with music. I don't run with music. I don't do it because of that reason. And I started doing that when I heard David Goggins years ago say, he's like, I don't work out with music because when life gets hard, where's the music?
That's good.
Yeah. And especially when you're out in the mountains or wherever and you're working out alone and you're going to be negative for a really long time. This sucks. My feet hurt. Why am I doing this? Oh, I got a side ache. And then it's like, because you have not, you're in your own thoughts.
Yeah.
And then your thoughts shift. Oh, did I leave the door unlocked? I'm not sure. Like, did I text that person? Like,
Yeah.
and then you get to this level where like, I feel good. And then you start problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go through all this all the time. Um, and then you start being thankful. And I think that's the most important part. But it takes a while to get to the thankful part.
Yeah.
And if you parallel that with life, no one wants to do the hard thing. And then you're at the end.
Uh-huh.
And exactly what you said. I'm so thankful that I can move my body. I'm so thankful that even though my feet hurt, I can take another step. I can breathe. Holy cow, I'm doing an ultra. Holy cow, I'm doing this. Holy cow, this is incredible. My
Yeah.
family's texting me.
Mm-hmm.
And like that gratitude and that love is only earned after you do all the stuff you didn't want to
All the
do.
beginning stuff that you're just like, I don't want to do it.
And then at the end and you finish and the moment is gone like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's which I think is also important because you have to appreciate that one moment that you did it for, and then you just move on to the next thing.
Yeah. I tried to be super present in that race and just really focused on just being present. So I was like, I know this will end and it'll be over. And then what? Like, I'll have to be a mom tomorrow and I'll have this and this and this. And I was like, if I can just be present in this moment and just enjoy it.
And it's temporary.
Yeah, it really is. So I was like, it'll be over before I know it. And that's fine. And it'll be the next step of whatever life will bring at me. And just, I have to face something. Like, life is hard in a lot of ways. It is easy, but you still have hard stuff mixed in with it. But I was like, if you can overcome just doing those simple tasks, you can overcome doing those hard tasks in life as well. And even being a mom, it's like, sometimes it's just really hard and it sucks. But it's like, you have to find those little moments of like joy and just like happiness. And like, you have to cling on to those a lot more because there are a lot more moments that are harder versus those little one moments. And you really have to cling on to those until that next moment comes. And it's kind of the same as an ultra. Like, you just have to cling on to that one little moment and just keep going because the next thing might be harder and bigger and you don't know what it is. But it's like, if you can cling on to that, it will help you and give you hope. Like, Man's Search for Meaning is one of my favorite books. And it's like, he who has a why can bear any how. And I was like, my pain right here isn't hard compared to what most people have to go through. I chose to do this and I signed up for this. And so I can get through this no matter what I do and whatever I decide to do. And even one day I was training and running and hating life. And I was like, this sucks. And I came around the corner and there was a lady in a wheelchair being pushed. And I was like, perspective. Yeah. Like, she would love to be running. Maybe she would, maybe she wouldn't. But I was like, I have the ability to go out and run. Like, I have that choice. And who am I to say I hate this when I'm like, she would love to be in my position right now. And so it's all about perspective and just having that perspective throughout every day of your life. It's hard, but it's like, people would love to do this if they had legs. Like, they would love to be in the mountains experiencing this, and I get to. And so it's, instead of being like, I have to do this, no, you get to do this because it's really cool. And this is a really cool experience. So you get to show up every single day. And a lot of people don't have that or that ability or have that mindset to like, do I want to choose another day? I'm like, yes, you do. You want to choose another day because you don't know when the next great thing will come along and propel you forward.
I want to ask you about cold plunging. So I really do. I have you down as you are a cold plunge queen. And I remember you did it for 100 days, right?
Yeah, it was over 100
days.
It
was 100. So tell me about cold plunging.
Hated it. Did it the first time in, I don't even know what it was.
It's not fun.
It was so cold. I was like, why does anybody do this? Like, it was stupid. And so I actually went to that retreat. We cold plunged in, I don't even know what it was, like a cave type of thing. It was freezing. It was cold. And I shivered for hours. I was like, why would anybody do that ever? And so I came home and told one of my clients, and he's like, I have a tub that you can borrow. And so it was just like one of those Rubbermaid like troughs. And so I filled it up, got in, and my kids were there. And I was like hyperventilating. I was like, and my son's like, you have to breathe or you're going to die. And I was like, I can't. Like, it was so cold. And I lasted a minute. And I was like, okay, this is stupid. Like, I have to commit to this. And so I committed doing it every day for 3 minutes. And it was so hard. Like, the first, like, I would wake up and work out in the morning. And the whole hour I'm at the gym, I'm like, I have to do 3 minutes in the cold plunge. And it's going to suck. So, like, the whole hour, that's all I could focus on was that 3 minutes. And I knew when I got home, I was going to have to jump in and be like, it's going to suck. But I I did it for that time, and I feel like I got to the point where I could calm my breath. And for me, that was critical because my mind is just going, going, going. And so for me, it became this piece of serenity. I could be in there for 3 minutes. My mind was blank, and all I had to focus on was breathing. That's all I needed to focus on was just your breath and breathing. It's like, and I did it for I think I did it over 100 days because I did it during my competition, and everyone was messaging me, you can't be doing this. It's going to ruin your muscle mass, blah, 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 blah. Women shouldn't be doing this. And I was like, for me, it's a mental thing. If I can do this is the hardest 3 minutes of my day. I can do anything. And it was the hardest 3 minutes of my day for a really long time. And I would dread it. And it got to the point where I would just go out and jump in. And my husband was like, oh, you didn't even think twice. And I was like, no, it's kind of gotten to this like second nature. Like I just go out, I get in, and I come back in. And it became the second nature thing. And a friend of mine asked me, like, what is the one thing that has propelled Felisha forward? And he was like, cold plunging. He was like, I feel like it's helped her the most just with mental clarity and just being in there and just focusing on breathing for 3 minutes. Like it was literally just like a mind reset for the day. And I do it at night usually. And it just helps me calm myself before bed. Like I cold plunge, shower, go to bed. And it just like calms me so I can sleep at night and I sleep better. I don't have as much inflammation. My body just feels really good. And I will say, like, going in and breaking the ice is really cool.
I know. I love doing that.
That is my favorite thing because I have friends who are much bigger and they're like, I keep it at a balming 50. And I was like, that's too warm, bro. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm not.
A balming
50.
Like, what is that?
And I'm like, you're like 250 pounds more than me. And you've got way more insulation than I have. And so it made me feel really badassery to be like, I can go out and break like an inch of ice or more and go sit in that for 3 minutes. And so it just really propelled me forward. And so I actually bought a freezer. And that was like when he dropped it off, he's like, you can keep it at 50 degrees. And my husband was like, does it go colder? And he's like, yeah, I can keep it at 32. And he was like, perfect, because that's how cold she'll want it. What? I keep it at 38.
That's crazy still.
It's still cold. Like I still go out and there's ice on it. And it still takes my breath away. But I feel like it's helped me the most out of everything that I've done recovery wise. Like I'm really into like massage and doing all these things. But I'm like, the cold plunge has just propelled me forward to just reset my mind and just be calm for 3 minutes.
And do hard things.
And do
like
hard things.
legit, because like there's a difference between cold showers, getting cold water thrown on you, and then getting in cold ice water.
Yeah.
What I find is sorry guys, my dog is like licking Felicia's leg. Billy, calm down, bub. The mental clarity and the breathing is the coolest thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find interesting is the more I cold plunge, you're right, the cooler you feel, breaking the ice.
Right?
It's just like, it's a coolness factor because you can't fake it. It's like, dude.
I'm like, I'm getting into this. They're like, you really get in there? I'm like, you saw the video.
And then your body actually warms itself up.
Mm-hmm.
Until you move and you're like, oh, it's still cold.
I know.
But the mental clarity and the breathing and then when you get, because I love it, and usually it takes around 2 to 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. But when you get to that calm space and you're just like talking normal, there's power in that. And you're right. Then you get out. You're
like
done.
I can conquer anything today. I'm like, I just did the hardest thing and it was 3 minutes and I'm done. Yeah. And it goes by fast. Like the first month that I did it, I would FaceTime friends and my friend, like I would just like ease in and she was like, you just got to jump in. And so that's when I started jumping in, just like full force, like full send. But then when there was ice, I was like, I can't full send it because I like cut my knee or my shin one time. Like I jumped in and I was like, ow. I was like, there was ice over there. I was like, dang it. Yeah. So anyway, it's just super fun to like get in and just feel really badass about it and just be like, yeah, I really like this.
The freezer that you got, is it one of those like they turned a fridge into? Yeah,
they converted the freezer, they lined it,
ton of steps that you can sit in it, something like that.
There is a step in there, and so I haven't quite figured out how to sit in it. Like I like my tub. I'll probably use the Rubbermaid one in the winter because
I have that.
I like that one because I can break the ice. He was like, you can't really break the ice in this one because you'll ruin the shell lining that they put inside of it. You don't want to scrape it. And so I was like, for wintertime, I'm still going to use my trough because it just looks cooler when I break the ice with my sledgehammer.
Yeah.
But I like do like it. I just can't figure out how to sit in it. And I like to extend my legs out, and I can't do that in the freezer because there's like a bench. And so I sit there, and then it like goes to here, and I'm like, well, that's not deep enough. I say I need it higher.
Good to know, because like I wanted to buy one, but
I should have went bigger. Like I went with there was like a smaller one, and then this was a middle size, and I should have went with the bigger one.
Okay.
And I went with the middle grade, and he was like, I think this one will work. I should have went with the bigger one. But I was like, do I need one that big? I'm the only one that does it. Like my kids have done it here and there. They'll kind of jump in. They're like, how do you do that? But I'm like, if I can show them firsthand, like just do hard things. Like my son got in it and he was like, my back feels better. And I was like, I know, like I'm trying to teach you guys. But I'm like, I have all these eyes looking at me, and I'm like, they're seeing me firsthand. And so it's like, if I can jump in, then maybe they'll jump in eventually. And I don't force my kids to do it. I'll never force them to do anything, but I think if they make the decision to move forward and be like, okay, my mom does this, I can do this kind of thing. And so that's really cool to see them at least try. But I'm like, even they'll get in the river, and I'm like, that's great. Like the river is always moving. And so that's a little bit harder because I was like, you do create that thermal barrier. And I'll get in there now and like start moving and like moving my ankles and my hands and kind of break that barrier. And
really make it
make it really cold. And I'm like, okay, that's like the next level. I was like,
yeah.
I still wear my socks. Like people are like, where do you wear socks? And I was like, I don't need to freeze my toes. Like my toes are fine. I just need like
interesting. The toes, I've heard that too. I should probably do that.
Yeah, some people wear the neoprene socks, like scuba.
Yeah,
like scuba socks. Yeah, I was like, my socks are fine. Like they kind of create a little bit of a barrier where I don't need my toes to freeze off. Like
the toes, you don't want would have frostbite on your toes.
No. So I'm like, I do it if I can get my wrists in, I'm winning. So I'm like, if I can get my hands in for like a minute, that's pretty good for me. When it's super cold, I'm like, and my hands are out because it's just like it just burns.
Yeah, it does burn. I know the feeling, and I know what you're talking about.
Get your hands in there. I'm like, how did you do that? How did Omar get his hands in?
I'm just like,
you kind of just have to like. The first 30 seconds, I'm like, you just have to breathe. And then once you get past that, you're like, okay, I'm going.
And the tub, the one you're talking about is the best because you lean back.
Yes. Yeah, you just like chill. And people are like, are you sitting in ice? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just sitting in ice. They're like, you're just chilling. And I'm like,
exactly.
I'm like, I'm just another day right here in paradise, right here.
It's like, start wearing your sunglasses. My neighbors, when they see me, they're always like, what in the...
I know, my neighbor walked by and she's like, are you cold plunging? I was like, yeah. She's like, how are you doing that?
I had this old lady walk by, and she was like it was snowing, and she's like full on like snow gear, and she's chatting with me, and I'm recording it so you see the whole thing. She's like, is it cold? I'm like, put your hand in it. And she like, I'm like, put your whole hand in it. She's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, I've been here for 5 minutes.
Wow.
So anyway, that was awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Anything about the cold plunge? You said your husband was talking about how that's changed you the most.
Yeah, I think he noticed a change because he was like, you would dread it. And then I got to the point where just not even second guess and just go do it. And he was like, I feel like that's propelled you forward the most, just mentally being able to do that without even second guessing it and being like, dreading it the whole time. He's like, you just go out and do it and you're done. And you're like, oh, you're already done. And so that was really cool that he's actually seen mental benefits from it. Where I feel like I'm a lot more calm. Maybe that's just age and over 40. I don't know. But I feel like it has helped me be more calm where I'm like, I don't freak out as much anymore. And so it's just like
literally cool under pressure.
Literally cool under pressure. It's like, just focus on your breathing. Like there is power in breathing. And I think you just need to hone that in and just breathe through life a little bit more.
That's amazing. Let's wrap up with just a couple little things because that was amazing. And I mean, you've literally covered everything. The last couple things I just want to ask or end with is, what are some of your life philosophies?
That's a deep one. I don't know if I really have any.
You kind of just went through a lot of them.
I know. I think for me is gratitude. Honestly, gratitude is everything. When I was struggling the most, I would pull out my gratitude journal, and writing 3 things that I was grateful for was really hard. Just being like, I woke up today. Like simple things. And for me, gratitude is probably everything. Because I think when you're in that negative spiral, it just starts spiraling super fast. And so if I can wake up and be grateful for every single day, I think that's propelled me exponentially forward, is just being grateful. Because you don't know, nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. Like I woke up, talked to my mom Monday, Tuesday she was gone. Like you have no idea what tomorrow brings. And so it's like, just wake up and be grateful for today. because tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Amen, sister. Well, like I said at the beginning, this is exactly why I wanted to talk to you, because you are an everyday hero. And that everyday hero, like I really say, I believe they're the most important people because they're the most tangible. They're at arm's reach. Anybody can text you that knows you. Anyone, especially people that know you on the personal level, that know what you've gone through, go through. And if they go through that and you can be that person for them, that's pretty incredible. So thank you, Felisha,
Thank you.
for taking the time. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you.